Ian Wafawarova from South Africa, and he is members of the Publishers Association of South Africa. Let's hear from this nation and how the market does there.
Thank you. Can you hear me? I will attempt to give you snippets of what's happening in Africa and in South Africa on the ebook topic. And then if time allows, in the second session of this, I will draw some comments and conclusions on this. Even in South Africa, where we have a component of our economy as a first world economy, the arrival of e-readers took time. I think it was quite difficult to get hold of one until probably late last year. But once Google announced that they were selling more e-books than paperback books, in January this year, and the American Publishers Association indicated that the growth there was phenomenal, publishers were jostled to really begin to look into this seriously. So I can report that among our well-established publishers, they are now really preparing their materials for basically 3 platforms of consumption. They are preparing books for e-readers, they are preparing books for mobile smartphones, and they are also preparing books for print. My observation in this is that publishers are not following this route together with retailers because they see a viable business proposition, but because they are preparing for a future that they see coming. The reports that we get, for example, from the main retailer in Southern Africa, Exclusive Books, is that the amount of e-books that they are selling is still far less than 1%. There's also a reluctance to go in that direction because there is a feeling that the revenue and the quality of revenue that comes out of e-books is really far less attractive than the proposition that print offers them. They say they sell quite a large volume for very little coming through. One of the complaints that we have received in the Publishers Association from publishers in South Africa is that they really feel that there is a lot of disregard for territorial rights when people download these books. They feel that they do all the promotion, but when people buy, they really don't derive any benefits from that. So these are some of the issues, but people are coming on board. The reason why this is an issue, the one on territorial rights, is that it is established that 3 in every 4 books in the general trade that are sold in South Africa are actually international titles from either the UK or the United States. So that really affects them quite significantly. I would like to talk also about what's happening in education, because 75% of all book business that happens in South Africa is education, and on the rest of the continent, it's far worse. Up to 95% of all book trade is in education. There are very few initiatives that are taking place. Most of them are institution-driven because there is no capacity for the technology that is required in education. Some of you may have heard about the NEPAD e-schools project, which is being implemented across the continent. There are other philanthropic organizations like the Shuttleworth Foundation, which is also moving in there and trying to provide, for example, bandwidth in the Western Cape. We believe that the introduction of the West Coast and the East Coast fiber optic cable will enhance connectivity and broadband, but it still has to come. The reason why people are more interested, and I agree with you, with mobile platforms for consumption is that if you look at Southern Africa mainly and the rest of the continent, there is much greater connectivity in mobile, sometimes 10 times more than fixed line connectivity. So there is really a belief that mobile will take off much earlier than consumption of content on tablets. This is also related to the type of content that is consumption. Mobile is lending itself to revision activities that learners are interested in. and snippets of information that can be consumed in small bites. I know the Shuttleworth Foundation is also moving into teenage books, where teenagers are more attracted to mobile gadgets, and they are trying to download and present those for mobile phone, smartphone reading. I hope I'll be able to come back and make some observations on this later. Thank you.